I was doing overnight routes back then. Nothing exciting. Medical supply restocks for small clinics and dialysis centres. Gloves, saline, tubing, shaft containers. I drove a Ford Transit leased through a contractor outside Flagstaff, running deliveries along I-40 towards smaller towns in northern Arizona. The graveyard shift paid better, and I needed the money. This happened in early November, when the desert cools off fast after sunset and the dark feels bigger than it should. I remember the date because it was the weekend after Halloween. There were still smashed pumpkins along the shoulder, flattened into orange stains by truck tires. I clocked out of the depot at 10:52 p.m. The run was supposed to take about 3.5 hours if nothing went wrong. I'd driven it dozens of times. Enough times that I stopped really paying attention. The first thing that fell off happened about 20 minutes in. A sedan merged onto the highway behind me from an on-ramp that shouldn't have had much traffic at that hour. Older model. Dark color. One headlight was dimmer than the other. I noticed because it stayed exactly the same distance back. Far enough not to tailgate, close enough that I could see its headlights perfectly framed in my side mirror. I told myself I was being paranoid. Night driving does that to you. You start assigning meaning to ordinary things. My dad used to joke that highways at night turn everyone into amateur detectives. Still, after about 10 minutes, the car hadn't passed me or fallen back. I slowed down a little. It slowed too. I sped up. It matched me. That was the first moment I felt something wasn't right. Not fear. Just a quiet tightening in my chest. Like when you realize someone is standing behind you at an ATM. I brushed it off. There was a rest area coming up anyway. I pulled in around 11:30 p.m. The place was mostly empty, a couple of parked semis humming softly and one flickering light over the vending machines. I didn't actually need the bathroom. I just wanted the lights, the normalcy. The sedan didn't pull in. It kept going. I remember standing there longer than necessary, pretending to read a sign about littering, feeling stupidly relieved. When I got back on the highway, I checked my mirrors. About 5 minutes later, the same car was behind me again. Same distance. Same uneven headlights. That was the second time my instincts kicked up a notch. I reached for my phone, then stopped. What would I even say? There's a car behind me on the interstate. That's just traffic. I told myself it was coincidence. There aren't that many cars on I-40 that late. Of course, you see the same ones over and over. Around midnight, I passed a long freight train crawling alongside the highway. The sedan dropped back, boxed in by a semi. For a moment, I lost sight of it. I felt ridiculous for feeling relieved. 2 exits later, it was back. At that point, this is the third moment I ignored my gut. I should have exited somewhere populated, or called dispatch, or at least told someone where I was. I didn't, because I was already behind schedule, and every delay came out of my pay, and because part of me still wanted to believe I was imagining things. About 30 miles east, I saw a man standing on the shoulder waving his arms. He was wearing a hoodie and jeans. One sleeve looked dark, like it was soaked. Blood, maybe. Oil. Hard to tell at speed. I slowed down. I wish I could say I handled this part well. I didn't. I slowed because someone might genuinely be hurt. But I didn't stop because the sedan was still behind me. I cracked the window and yelled, "You okay?" He stepped closer to the road. "Car trouble," he said. "Phone's dead." I glanced at my mirror. The sedan had slowed too, hazard lights on now, just sitting there like it had every right to be. Something about the timing felt wrong. Too neat. I rolled my window up and drove off. I still feel bad about that. I still think about it. But in that moment, all I could think was, I don't want to be stuck between these two things. The man shouted something. I didn't hear what. Less than a mile later, the sedan accelerated, passed me on the left, and slid in front of my van. Not aggressively, not slamming the brakes, just easing in and slowing down. I honked. No reaction. I tried to change lanes. The car drifted with me. There was an upcoming exit, one of those barely used ones that leads to a frontage road and nothing else. The sedan's turn signal clicked on, slow, deliberate. No, I said out loud, alone in the cab. Nope. I don't know why I didn't just floor it past them immediately. I think part of my brain was still trying to apply normal rules. You don't escalate. You don't assume the worst. You don't make things worse if they don't have to be. The road curved slightly, and for half a second, the headlights weren't centered in my mirror anymore. I took that second. I swerved, punched the accelerator, and felt the van rattle as boxes shifted behind me. Something thudded against the side panel, maybe a hand, maybe just air pressure. I didn't look. I didn't stop until I hit a 24-hour gas station near Winslow, bright as a stadium, with cars and people and noise. I pulled in crooked, almost clipped a bollard. I sat there for a long time, hands locked on the steering wheel, watching the entrance in the reflection of the glass. The sedan never showed up. I finished the route late, told dispatch there was construction, didn't mention anything else. Years later, I still think about that stretch of highway, about the guy on the shoulder, about how the car waited, unhurried, like it knew the road better than I did. Nothing actually happened to me. That's what I tell people. But sometimes, when I'm driving at night and see a car sitting just a little too steady in my mirror, my body reacts before my brain does. And I wonder what would have happened if I'd pulled over, or if someone else did.